Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton Knave. Today we're doing McDonald and Giles. Although that's kind of not the cover, that's only a bit of it, that's only Giles. So the actual cover, that's the cover there, McDonald and Giles. This is the album they made once they left King Crimson. Should we do it? Does it fit? It's in Sid Smith's book. So yeah, I suppose. It's not King Crimson. I'm not saying it's King Crimson, it's just part of the story and I thought it'd be interesting to do. Ian McDonald was not happy with the result. Apparently they spent a lot of money recording, far too much faffing around with overdubs and things, and then no time for mixing, no money for mixing, and they had to put it out because they spent so much money on it. But there is some lovely stuff on here which has bits of potential things that would have been in King Crimson. So here you've got the yang to the ying of In the Wake of the Poseidon. In the Wake of Poseidon is a King Crimson album though, and this is not a King Crimson album. Partially because supposedly McDonald and Giles had a bit of a problem with playing demonic music. That's what they called it, demonic. That sounds so silly now, but at the time I suppose that kind of thing was very shocking. It means that this is very light. They made lighter music, and I mean stylistically it has more in common with Giles and Fripp, although it is much more accomplished than Giles and Fripp, I think, and generally better. It just doesn't have the weight. It doesn't have the weight, so it is a curiosity, and the mix doesn't help. The mix is a bit wimpy. Bits of it do have the weight actually, which we'll talk about. There's moments on here which are fantastic. It does stand up as a great album, just like Giles and Fripp is a great album. Track 1 is Sweet in C, including Turnham Green and Here I Am and Others. I don't know what the others are, I have no idea. It's more interesting than the title suggests. Calling it Sweet in C makes it sound like some neoclassical thing, and it isn't. There's some really cool music in there. It's very light. It's very witty though. There's a wittiness to it, which is very Giles and Fripp, and I think you could have slotted into King Crimson to a certain extent. A different kind of humour came into King Crimson, I think. Track 2 might be the one people will be the most interested in, although it's not the best thing on there, is Flight of the Ibis. Ibis? This is the music to the original Cadence and Cascade, and features the arpeggio is still in there as well. So there is crossover of music as well, so that's quite interesting. There is a suggestion here there. They're two halves of something that would have been better together. I prefer Cadence and Cascade, partially because I think it was a great application of Gordon Haskell's voice as well. Track 3 is She Waiting? It's the ballad, it's a bit bland, maybe better production would have fixed that one. Track 4 is Tomorrow's People, The Children of Today. I think this was something that Michael Giles wrote this around the time of Giles and Fripp. The 24th Century Schizoman played this. I saw them live playing this. Vocals by Michael Giles, although obviously they had Jakob Jasvik in the band. He sung his own song, he sang very well. It's pretty cool. Track 5 to 10 actually, is the big second side epic Birdman. This is Ian McDonald's masterpiece. Apparently Fripp really rates this as something awesome and thought this should form the basis of the next album. Maybe it should have been the whole album and you could have had songs slotted in between different parts of the Birdman's journey, kind of, which never happened. It's a shame it's not recorded better because it is really good. I don't rate it quite as much as perhaps Fripp does, because I think it's a bit bitty. It's not very cohesive. There's bits which are fantastic, kind of lumpy. I mean, much like Lizard. Actually, I feel the same about Lizard. You've got the Inventor's Dream, which is okay. You've got Workshop. The idea is obviously to get a lot of percussion going, and the idea is that the Birdman is building his dream flying thing. And then we got Wishbone, which is interesting because this was actually part of the track Trees, actually the vocal section of Trees before the bit that ended up in Amana City. So that's quite interesting. Then you have Birdman Flies. This is one of the two really sublime moments on the album. It's just a beautiful theme and a building thing going on. Then we have Wings in the Sunset and Birdman the Reflection, which are actually one thing really, I think. When the 21st Century Schizoman band played Birdman, it's actually only this bit they played. But that was enough for me to go out and buy the album when I heard them play it in Wolverhampton. Oh no, in Bilston actually. Nobody will know where that is, but there you go. Wonderful, uplifting theme. If they were worried about negative demonic connotations, there's none of that here. I think that would have fitted into King Crimson and would have been something fantastic. I agree with Fripp on that. You've got strings and horns going on and big and then the reflection bit is really the ending sustained notes flourish. It's worth getting the album just for those last two bits, I think. Brilliant. Really good. That's McDonald and Giles. We'll see you next week for Lizard.